What do you do if you get a yes? One of the other reasons why it's so hard to ask the suicide question is some people get really nervous about what they're going to hear and they don't know what they're going to do if they get a yes. And that's what the next two sections are about, to gain your understanding and confidence to how you can appropriately respond. So, what do we do if we get a yes to that important question? Well, the first thing is we're going to express gratitude. So you can just say, thank you. Thanks for trusting me. Thanks for believing in me. Thanks for being vulnerable. Thanks for being real. Anything you want. And that first response of gratitude helps lower the tension in the room and lets them know that you can handle this, which is a good thing. Second, then, you are going to persuade them. The first thing is you're going to persuade them to stay alive. And then the second thing, you'll persuade them to get some help. So persuading them to stay alive. The thing is, people who are suicidal generally lack hope. They don't believe that they can get through whatever they're going through. They think it's going to last forever. They think it's never going to change. And that lack of hope is what can lead to real desperation. Because if you have hope, you can survive almost anything. And so our job is to give them a little bit of hope in the short term to get them through their crisis. And you can do this in a lot of ways, right? You can tell them, you're not going to always feel this way. You're going to get through this, and I'm going to help. There are people who care. I care. You're important. I want you to live. This won't last forever. So they don't have any hope. And so we're going to loan them ours for a little bit. We're going to tell them the things they need to hear to let them know it's okay. I got you. And you're going to get through it. We'll get through it. Because the truth is, the escalation cycle for suicidality for most people is really short. They have a crisis moment, and if we can get through the crisis moment, through that peak, down the other side, most people survive and do pretty well. As a matter of fact, 80% of people who attempt suicide and make it through the crisis never attempt again. So when we're at this point, we give them our hope, we get them through their crisis moment, and lead them on to recovery. Kevin Hines is a famous speaker. He was a man who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and survived. And his story is that he made a promise to himself that if one person asked what was going on or if he was okay, he was going to tell them. And he said his father was a good man and who cared a lot and was very worried about him, but nobody ever trained him how to ask the question. And so his dad never asked him about suicidality, and then he never told him. And Kevin jumped. And he is an example of someone who just needs someone to intervene and get him through the one suicide moment, and then he can be in recovery and do very well. So we're going to persuade them to stay alive. We're going to give them our hope, and we're going to encourage them. And secondly, we're going to persuade them to get help. Because it's not on us. They need some professionals to help them through. And so here's a few questions we could ask. Or we can tell them that we do know of resources. We do know people who can help. There are experts in the community. There are resources available. Can we go find them? Can we go find them together? Even if you don't know what they are, or even if you don't believe they don't work, they do. I'm going to give you my hope. Can we go walk through this together? Will you go with me? Will you let me help you get help? That third question, will you promise me not to kill yourself until we found some help, is not awesome, but it's at least something if someone's super stuck. And sometimes those promises might be able to help somebody. So there we are. We're persuading them to stay alive, and we're persuading them to get help.